Hi there, welcome, good evening. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to start with the questions that came in about careers and personality type. And if you have any of your own questions, any career topic at all, feel free to chime in, message, just post right here. And okay, we'll start. So the questions that I got are questions that I've heard many times before about personality type. So just a little foundation about what I do and personality types and careers and how that all works together. So I do career coaching, and mostly I work with individuals who are making a career decision, like choosing a career for the first time, but way more often someone who has a job that might seem really good to other people. Maybe they're getting paid well even, or maybe there's like something, about the title, reputation that seems that other people look at as something cool, but they're just not happy. It could be the money, it could be the job, it could just be they're feeling burnt out, and they're trying to figure out, is it the career, or they've already figured out what I'm doing is the wrong thing, and how could I find the right thing? And so one of the easiest free things that you could do for yourself, if you're trying to figure out what's going on, is it where I'm working? Is it the wrong skill set? Is it the people I'm working with? Is it me? So, just understanding your personality type is a very good thing, not only for careers. Once I understood careers, and I learned, once I understood personality type and I learned it for understanding career paths, it helped me in so many other areas of my life. In every relationship, it helped me understand people better. And so I highly recommend learning about it if you can, just to get understanding. Okay, so career type, most of you you might have heard of it called the Myers-Briggs or 16 personalities. Probably a friend of yours or someone tried to get you to take a test. And there's basically, it's super simple. And for people who say like, well, I took the test one time and then I got a different result another time, like, just to break it down, the personality isn't everything about you. It doesn't tell us your IQ. It doesn't tell us your interests. It doesn't tell us talents. It doesn't tell us like your emotional intelligence, your social emotional health. It doesn't tell us any of that, which are all really important factors to making a career decision. What it does tell us is a couple of common characteristics that can put you into a certain like general framework that makes it really much easier to understand certain things about you. And then you can apply that to a career in general, choosing a career in general, and even within a career in specific, what's going to make you more, happier, what's going to annoy you, who are people that you're going to enjoy working with more, and dealing with things like getting a new job, leaving a job, firing someone, like all of that just, it will give you insight. So there are 4 things that personality type teaches us. The first one I'm sure you've heard of, extrovert and introvert, and people have all sorts of definitions. I'll tell you what it's not. It's not about if you're shy, if you have anxiety, or if you're super friendly. All it is where you get your energy, your recharge from. And so the more extroverted someone is, the more someone gets their recharge externally from being with other people. And so one of the first questions, and I'll just use the extrovert introvert as an example. The first one is this: how do I know what personality type I really am? Because when I take personality tests, the core personality stays the same, but depending on the day, there are fluctuations. Okay, so the answer to this is super simple. You're born a certain like preference. Most people are. Now, there are people that are right in the middle. Like they're actually 50-50, like 50% of the time I like to be with people, 50% of the time I'd prefer one-on-one or alone or sitting at a desk computer. But between, the two sides, there's going to be people who lean more to one side and more to the other side. If you're a parent or you have younger siblings or young children, there are young children in your life. If you spend time thinking about this, you'll notice that kids as young as ages 2, 3, you'll see a difference. Like some kids, you bring them to the playground and they're just like so eager and happy and excited to be around other people. And other kids are like, ooh, take me away. Like, I just want to go home to my own little swing set and be alone. Now, there is shyness and anxiety that could come into that, but that's not the only thing. There are kids who you can see are recharged by people. And if you watch people over the course of a lifetime or look at the people who consider themselves extroverts or introverts, you'll see that that's actually something that you can look back at childhood. So the answer to that question is really like your personality, your nature stays the same. Now, what gets confusing and what gets in the way is that what if you are a super extroverted mom and then you have a kid who's really introverted, right? Or look at yourself, like maybe you were very introverted and you had a very extroverted parent, or like siblings and everyone in your house, in your home was really extroverted. So you're likely to have, it's not like you changed necessarily, like who you are is still an introvert. Like at the end of a long day, if you were with people a lot, probably you'll still prefer to get your recharge alone, reading a book, taking a shower, taking a walk, spending time in the gym, like blocking everyone else out. But it will make you more comfortable because being around people, like that's the nature and nurture part. So your nature stays the same. What nurtured you could make you slightly more flexible, easygoing, can make you more comfortable with those kinds of people. So parents, spouses, those are the kind of things that people will say, yeah, I was really like that, but my husband or wife is so much like this that I've gotten more like that. And it's like, that's good, because what happens in marriages usually is that, one of you starts off on one side and the other one on the other side. And then, either one goes towards and the other one comes toward, or you're like, oh, you're never on time. So I have to be early. So I'm going to like be more to my extreme. And then the other one goes to their extreme. And then you'll notice if you say, okay, let's have, going back to the extrovert introvert example. Okay, you know what, let's have guests for one meal. And then they'll say like, okay, I get it. Let's have one quiet meal versus, the opposite. And there's always that dance, in relationships with good friends, with spouses, siblings, with that kind of thing. Okay. So the other three parts, just to get through them, and then you'll understand, I hope, a little bit more on what your personality type is and how to use personality type. So the second category is what gets people the most confused. But I'll give you a little trick to help you understand it. So it's sort of how you see the world. Okay, so there's actually two completely different ways that people see the world. There are the S's, the people that we call the sensors, and then there are the N's, the people that we call the intuitives. So people who are sensors, the first thing that they notice are the things that they pick up on with their five senses. You got a new ring, their car got a scratch, you got a haircut, they notice immediately. It doesn't take any effort. They go to a party, you ask them what color was someone's dress, what color, what were the tables decorated with. They just know it because like that's what they see. Now, people who notice things with their five senses are super down to earth and practical, usually, right? And everybody notices the things that they care about. I'm talking about people who just like notice things, physical things that their five senses notice. And so those people are very down to earth and practical. They like to talk about actual things because that's what they notice. Now, the people who are on the other side, and if this doesn't make sense to you while I'm explaining it, then you're not that. But people who are the intuitives, the first thing that they notice is what their sixth sense picks up. So they're less likely to notice the physical details. And there's some things that they care about that they'll notice, or if, they're about to make an event, they'll start noticing other people's event. But short of it being a specific interest to them, they are not going to be the first one to notice things like a haircut or a new piece of jewelry or things like that, but they will pick up on like meeting a person for the new person for the first time. They might not remember what they're wearing or details, like physical details about them, but they will immediately pick up on the sixth sense things, what that person is not saying, what they're like, things about them, that they're just getting this vibe, energy, like just knowing things about people without them having to say it. Just really like being very in touch with their intuition. You can be sensing and have strong intuition, but still be a practical person. If you're in the N category though, you're very likely to be more interested in a job that's like possibility oriented, future oriented. You're always thinking about the future. So that's like the second category. The third and fourth are really easy. The third category is thinking or feeling. Are you a thinker or a feeler? Which simply means when you make decisions, do you go first to your head or first to your heart? Like more emotion or more logic? What's really interesting about careers is that the people who are more heart driven, they prefer to have careers. Where's my Lego? They prefer to have careers that are personally meaningful. And, there's like that debate, like, is it more important to have a career that is personally satisfying or that pays you more? And the people who are the feelers, like who care about emotions and appreciation at work, they also are the ones who choose jobs and who really want jobs where they're getting that personal satisfaction. And the people who are more logical, might be really sympathetic, sweet, caring people, but at the end of the day, they usually want their job to be logical, make sense. If it makes sense in my head and I'm using my brain, then I'm satisfied. It doesn't need to be being a doctor or a nurse or a therapist or in some like helping profession. Okay, last category, and then we'll answer the rest of the questions, is our P and J. It's called perceiving and judging. And so that's like the people who are planned versus the people who are spontaneous, like not planned. So sort of the J's are like, oh, I'm booking vacation for in 6 months from now. Do you want to come? And if you're a P, you're like, 6 months from now, I have no idea. Ask me the day you're going or the week before. But the way that shows up at careers, in careers, is that the people who are who like planning, they like to have work where it's predictable, where they sort of have a schedule, they know what to expect every day. And then the people who are the spontaneous ones like jobs where every day is something new project, new people. There's not like a very set schedule. Okay, so within that framework, if you don't know your full personality type, you can go on my website, ShainaKeren.com, take a simple quiz, and you'll get like a full description of your personality. There's also another free website, 16 personalities, like 16personalities.com. So take a look. It's really fun to learn your personality type. And then you'll probably have these questions. So the next question is, could people change their personalities? The Torah says that people, okay, so this is a point that like people get very angry about. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's my personality type and I'm stuck to it. Like the whole Torah belief, right? So, okay, just to read the full question, the Torah says that a person who wants to can always change. I guess my question is, how do you balance what the Torah says along with personality? So thank you so much for this question. So yes, the Torah says that you could change. And when the Torah is talking about change, it means like midos. It means your emotional health. It means like improving yourself as a person. But just like the Torah is not like expecting you to, change your eye color or like if you were born with a good sense of direction or you were not blessed with that. Like we're not supposed to sit and focus and study maps and try to get good at it. Like you're probably just not good at it, right? Like if you're not artistic, and the Torah very much believes, and it says in the Chovos HaLevavos that a person should think about and focus on the things that come naturally to them, on the things that use their natural talents, and that's what they should focus their career on. And so back to answering that question, your personality type, what we believe is that you don't want to be extreme. So if you say, I'm so introverted, I can't have anyone visit me ever, I can never talk to people, I can never work with people, you're probably not so healthy. It's okay to say you're an introvert. It's not okay to use it as an excuse not to participate in life. And so, if like, let's say, the tests give like percentages, like you're 60-40 or you're 90-10. If you're 90-10, not so healthy, right? You probably want to move towards a 60-40. And then as people get older, they usually do balance out. Like some people in high school, that's like a very extroverted time because that's how you have friends. Like you better be outgoing, even if you're not really, even if you collapse when you come home and just like want to, go to sleep. But being like social is like a hallmark, or being extroverted is a way to have friends. So that's the kind of thing that like, as people I see go into their like 20s, mid 20s, upper 20s, they're like, yeah, I think I'm really changing. My personality is shifting. I used to be such an extrovert or not. And it's like, were you really such an extrovert, or you're just doing what you need to do to fit in? And now your life consists of a partner, a good friend, your coworkers, and you're realizing like that's enough. You have no one that you're trying to impress, and you could actually think about who you're interested in spending time with and what you like. And that's usually what's happening. It's like a little bit of maturing and growing into yourself. Or like you grew up with a parent who is extremely one way. So with the P and the J, like the spontaneous, perceiving and judging, the spontaneous versus planned. So if you had a parent who was always like, let's go on vacation, let's invite friends for Shabbos, right? Like Friday afternoon. And then you grew up and you slowly start realizing like, I actually really like planning my trips in advance. I really like knowing where I'm going to sleep and what I'm going to eat when I get somewhere. So it's not really you changing. It's you, I think, developing more into yourself and getting to be more of who you are and getting comfortable, like when you're able to create a lifestyle that really works for your natural personality. Now, I meet people lots of times who are on jobs that you wouldn't expect from their personality type. Say like the 4 letters, right? If you do this, you'll get 4 letters. So the 4 letters they have is like, let's say INFP. So they're introverted, they're intuitive, so very like sixth sense, futuristic. They're feeling, all about emotion, and very like open-ended. So the typical job for someone like that like most therapists are INFPs, or they're ENFPs, but then they do like a lot of group social things because they're extroverted, right? So they're usually therapists or teachers, like very much helping professions. But then you meet some who are like in construction, and it's like, what? How could that be? But then if you get to know them, either they hate their job, or sometimes in better scenarios, they actually just find ways to make their job meaningful. Like they're very mentor style to the employees that they work with, and they do a lot of like team building kind of activities, and what they do is very much about relationships. So you'll see that we can't actually predict like specific careers, although it's easy to give a general category. Like if you're, you know, an INFP, you're going to like helping people. You're going to be very flexible. You're going to always be doing a lot of soul searching. You're probably going to be watching something like this, right? You're probably going to be spending time, you know, figuring out what kind of job would really give you the satisfaction that you're craving. But it doesn't limit you to a specific kind of job. It just tells us, gives us clues about, you know, what you would enjoy. Okay. So there's the last question. Is great. And then if anyone has a question, just share it right here. I really like, because the person, you sort of answered your question. So listen what it says. It says, I've been looking for a career path for a very long time now. I have many intellectual talents. I hope you're here if this is your question, and good interpersonal skills. So a lot of avenues are open for potential career options. The problem is I don't know what I want to do. I know what I'm good at, but not what will be best for me financially, emotionally, and spiritually in the long run. It's therefore so difficult for me to make a decision and stick to it. I keep dropping out of programs because I don't have the motivation to stick it out, because I'm not sure it's what I want. Okay, so this person, I think, answered their question within their own question. It's complicated. When you just have like one or two talents, it becomes pretty straightforward. Like that's the thing you're going to do. You love the medical field, and you're good at problem solving, and you know, you don't get grossed out from blood and guts. So, okay, you're going to be a doctor, right? You always, grew up arguing, and you have a very analytical mind. You're going to be a lawyer, right? Or, you're handy, and you're going to go into something in the trades. Those are like the obvious things. Now, people who are multi-talented, what we call multi-potentialite, where you could basically, like, whatever you would do, you would be successful at. So I see this happen a lot, where people are just like, so I got this job, and some story about how, someone introduced them to someone when they were first looking for a career, and then they just fell into a job completely unintentionally, and then they got to the top of it, and they're like, everybody else thinks I'm amazing at this job, but like, I actually don't enjoy it at all. And after speaking to them a little, I asked them, do you think that like any job that would have just happened to you would have been good at? Like, are you just good at things that you try because you're smart and you're hardworking? And they're like, yeah, sort of. Like, I wonder what would have happened, had I been, stuck into an architect's office. Like, maybe I would be designing buildings now. So if you're the kind of person who could do anything, it's not, you shouldn't just do anything. You actually do need to spend the time to figure out what you want. Like, if you have enough money to buy all the clothes in the world, or walk into a store and buy everything there, you shouldn't, right? Like, what are you going to do with it all? It's going to be complicated. So you have, it's like sort of a luxury that lots of people don't get, like that you actually have to make a choice. Lots of people don't have the ability to do so many things, but if you have so many talents, it doesn't mean you have to wear all the jackets in your closet, right? It means you have to pick the one that's right for now. Okay, so the question is, I don't know what I want to do. Very good. That's a great point, because you realize that it has to be about what you want, not just what you're good at. You can be really good at something that you hate doing. Anybody, right? Like, I might be good at cooking, but it's not something I want to do all day, right? Once a day or once a week is fine. So I know what I'm good at, but not what will be best for me financially, emotionally, and spiritually. So you're answering that. You're realizing that the graph, like the Venn diagram of what makes a person successful, is you have to take the things that you're good at, and the Japanese call this ikigai. That has to be the things that you're good at, the things that the world will pay you to do, the things that the world needs, right? So if you put all those things together, that is what ultimately makes up a successful career. So, you have to be good at it, you have to like it, other people need it, and other people need to want to pay you for it, right? And it should be something that ideally is as high earning as could possibly be, keeping in mind all the other factors. So when someone like this says, I keep dropping out of programs, stop taking programs, just stop, okay? Some people are just professional students, and they just go to school for fun. Now listen, if you're so rich, and you just have so much time and so much money, and you're never going to need to work, and you're just enjoying going to school, then all for it. But even I recommend people delaying college if they don't want. Yeah, this is going to be safe. If they don't know what they're going for, because just spending money and investing your time, which is really valuable, into something, instead of taking courses, I would tell you, get a job that you think might be interesting, get an internship, because that way, even if you're not making money, you're not losing money, and you're gaining experience, you're gaining skills, something probably more useful than just taking a course. And also, before you pay a lot of money for a course, go to Udemy or LinkedIn Learning, we used to be Linda, and go take a sample course. You're going to go take a course on SEO. You're going to go take a course on graphic design. You can, for $9.99, go take a sample course to get an idea. Now, no, it's not going to be as good as a $2,000 course, but you'll get an idea if you like the industry. If you can't stand watching the videos or taking the class or using the computer program, you're probably not going to love the profession. If it's exciting and you want to learn more, okay, that's a good clue. But stop taking programs and actually sit down and think about, first of all, discover your personality type, right? So if are you an introvert or extrovert? Do you want to work with lots of people? Do you not want to? Do you want a job that has a lot of structure or not? Do you want a job that gives you personal satisfaction or more that feels like uses your brain? Those are the basics, right? Get to know your personality type. Okay, then where does money come in? How much do you need to earn? Is that a factor? Is it not? Keep narrowing down, narrow down, and then you might want to find out what the careers are that exist within the things. But just when you're dating, the advice that I got was, make a list of your non-negotiables before you meet people, so that when you meet them, you won't get distracted. You'll be okay, these are the things I need, right? So come up with your must-haves, and then come up with your would be nice, and then come up with the possibilities, right? When I have someone who I work with and they're I need to be able to live in Israel, right? And then I hear from them 10 years later and they're still not there. So that's super nice to have a goal of moving somewhere. But if it's not reality for you, and you're gonna give up a career option that could have been successful, that could have helped you put the money away to then go and move there, maybe don't make that an absolute, right? Unless you know that it's a definite. So choose the things that are the most important, and then go and then courses are good. I like that you're taking courses before going to college, because going to school and wasting money on something raise your hand if you went to college for something and you don't use it today. So, don't do that. Go get some work experience, and just because you can do something, remember, doesn't mean that you should. Also, visit people who do the job that you are considering doing before you ever spend a penny on it, and visit 3 people at least. And it's not weird. I know it feels weird, but call up someone who does the thing. And if you don't know someone, message me, and I'll try to put you in touch with someone, and just say hey, I'm considering you could use this script. Hi, someone recommended that I go into X profession. I become an OT. I'm doing some research, I'm looking into it, and I'm wondering if it would be possible to stop in at your job for a couple of minutes, just so I can get a sense. Now, you think that those 10 minutes aren't going to help you. Hopefully you'll get even longer once you show up. But you know how when you go somewhere, you get you get an idea, like trying to buy a house, or someone helping you look at an apartment remote. If you just walked in, you would know, right? And so I've had people who have followed this advice and gone places, and they walked in and met someone, and they just saw the layout, what their office looks like, what the energy feels like, what the environment is, and they knew right away oh my God, this is so fun, right? And watching a YouTube video, of how a job is, it's just, there's nothing like it actually going in. Or they're ooh, that was so tense. And there's so many things that I'm sure you've heard from people that they thought there was something about the profession that they only found out once they finished schooling, got their first job, and got there. And then they're just oh my goodness, I didn't realize I was gonna have to write reports and notes all day, and that was gonna be a big part of the job. I hate writing, so maybe they figure out how to outsource it, but that's something they probably should have known, not there are things that you don't want to be surprises. Okay, so if there are any last questions, feel free to share them now. Otherwise, this will be saved. If you have any personality type, career questions, you can shoot me an email. It's coach@shainakeren.com, ShainaKeren.com. And I'm so glad I got to spend this time with you. And thank you so much, OKclarity, for hosting this platform, for being a resource for all of us, and for bringing us all together. Have a good night.